Hey, what's up? In this video, we're going to talk about how to start a keynote presentation or PowerPoint presentation from scratch. You have been tasked to do a presentation, whether at work or at school, or maybe just you want to create one for an online business you have to sell something, a pitch deck, whatever the case may be. I want to walk you through my process. It's not maybe the best process in the world, but it's my process. I've used it hundreds of times to create over 100 different presentations for not just live streams and online business and my own courses, because you can actually create slide decks and then screen record to then pop into online courses. That provides a lot of high value. You don't have to put your face on camera. You're teaching as if you were maybe in school. Maybe you are a teacher, but you can also use these slide decks for YouTube videos and other things like that too. Whenever you're presenting, it's beautiful because people can focus on the slide deck and you don't have to worry about getting behind the camera, which I know sometimes we are afraid of doing. But today I'm going to walk you through my process. We're going to bring out the Post-it notes. We're going to actually create a presentation and get as far into it as I can, and it'll be something that I might use later. I was just coming up with some random ideas today. I wanted to create something helpful, and I might end up using it later today, in fact, because I have a webinar that I'm going to be running, and this is for another person that we're doing a JV partnership with. And I just wanted to add some more value. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But for right now, welcome in. Thanks for being here. My name is Pat Flynn. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything in the future. If you're here live with me, I go live every single morning. So thank you again for coming back and welcome back. If you're brand new, welcome in. And say hello to your friends here in the chat. If you're watching the replay, hit me up, hashtag team replay in the comment section. Welcome to the income stream. All right, as you can see right there, we got the logo back. I don't know where it went. I found it yesterday, and there is the logo for the income stream. So, happy to hang out today. Stoked. We have Keynote, literally a blank new file. So we're going to walk through my process of creating a Keynote presentation from scratch. Now, what I do with anything that I create from scratch is I think about, well, what's the whole purpose of this thing? Because oftentimes, I just want to know the path. I want to know the path I'm going down. The last thing I want you to do is start designing slides right from the beginning. And I remember doing this myself, even trying to design the title slide. And your title slide, which is sort of the initial slide, that's actually the last slide that you should be creating, because we want to focus on the content. We want to focus on the engagement possibilities within this presentation. Excuse me. Oh, man. What's up, Remodel Media, Karma in the house, Peasant, Xenia Vlada, Samson, David, Elton, Dr. Joella, welcome in. Great. Audio is different today. Is it different today? Let's see. Let's see what's happening in the house. Yo, how we doing? There we go, chat. I did a presentation yesterday, and I used this microphone. I was actually on a panel at Podcast Movement, and I was using this microphone because it was a podcast conference. So I wanted to show off my podcasting mic. But today we're using now the actual mic that we normally use. You also hear static noise. Yeah, you probably heard the MacBook stuff, the MacBook microphone. Anyway, part of any journey is understanding what works and what doesn't. And obviously, the MacBook Pro mic doesn't work. And my previous experience with creating slides doesn't work either. See what I did there? A little bit of a stretch, but that's okay. So when it comes to presentations, we need to understand that we need to have an end goal here. The end goal is important to understand because we want to know where we're headed, but we also want to know how to sell people in the beginning of the presentation. And I don't necessarily mean sell a product. In fact, you usually wait till the end of the presentation to do that. But what I mean is we need to let people know ahead of time why they need to stick around. And of course, that's pertinent for a YouTube video and a webinar where people can leave right away. But even more important is if people are there live with you and they can't leave, like in an office setting or on a stage. we need to sell their attention. We need to sell the idea that what they're going to learn here is worth their time and that they need to stick around and pay attention. So thinking about the end goal in mind is really important. So what I like to do is I like to think about a Rhino Dog says, I was at a meeting last night and the speaker said, behoove. And all I could do was laugh thinking of you in the income stream. That's so funny. That was our secret word for September. Anyway, that's super cool. But I like to break out my Post-it notes, right? So typically, I like to think about, okay, well, what is the transformation here? What's the whole purpose of this presentation? I promise you, thinking about this ahead of time, before we start getting into the slide deck and start designing things, before we start thinking about, okay, well, what's the actual steps that we're going to have to share to get there? One Post-it note with one big idea for one transformation. What is the whole purpose of this thing? Now we can start to backtrack and think about, okay, well, what can we do to sell this thing? So I wanted to actually do a presentation that I think would be really helpful, whether I end up finishing this today, which is unlikely, or not. I wanted to start out with, I forgot to do my Post-it note. So what we're going to do here is we're going to think about a topic, and I already have one in mind, and this is this might end up becoming a YouTube video or part of a presentation. I'm going to try to see if I can finish this. It's going to be not a terrible amount of slides. The number of slides in a presentation, a lot of people ask me, Pat, how many slides should I have in my presentation? Should I have 20? Should I have 30 for a 30-minute presentation? I've heard 1 per minute works. No. Why would you force yourself to have a certain number when the most important thing is, are you delivering on what it is that you're promising? Are you offering that transformation? So I always like to go, okay, well, it doesn't matter. So long as you can get people from where they're at to where they're going, that's the number of slides. So long as you can do that. And literally, if it's like 4 slides, fine. If it's 50 slides, fine. If it's 100 slides, fine. Just make sure that you have the time for it and you can practice and obviously make sure that you have the presentation fit into whatever time constraint you are in. But let's go here. I'm going to write how to get more podcast reviews. How to get more podcast reviews. That's the transformation. So this is what I want people to actually end up on. And we're going to have that here on the far side of the table so we can work our way toward it during our presentation. So that this is like potentially the title of this presentation or the thing that we're talking about, okay? So we're going to be talking about that. And so as a byproduct of learning how to sort of approach Keynote from scratch, you're going to also learn how to get more podcast reviews from scratch. As few as possible, but as many as necessary. Exactly. Sticking with David for now, more human, might switch back to AV next week. David keeps switching his username, AV Peers, if you don't know who that is his other screen name. Okay, so where do we go from here? We got the transformation in mind. Now, it's literally just a matter, just like you've heard me say before, of brainstorming, ideas, and just brain dumping. The dump and chunk strategy, the dump and lump strategy. What this means is a brain dump, meaning you put your creative brain on, you just kind of pour out all these ideas that are in your head. You likely, because you are being asked to speak about this, you may have to either do research or you might already know a lot of the things, but our brains do a great job of coming up with a bunch of ideas, but a terrible job of organizing them, which is why we need to take the stuff that's in our brain, dump it, and then step 2 is to lump it. We find the little parts that actually sort of make sense to be with each other. We can start putting order to these things. And again, this isn't going to be a giant presentation. I'm not going to pretend like this is going to be an hour-long keynote. This is going to be just maybe a 10-minute presentation that we're coming up here. And then I'm going to go into Keynote or PowerPoint eventually. But again, the biggest mistake people make is, okay, I'm going to go into PowerPoint and Keynote to start, and we'll start building our presentation from there. No, because you're constrained from the tool and how little flexibility you have to be creative on these tools that force you to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We need to go lump. We need to go, April says, be right back, have to go to the potty. Good to know. We have to dump, and then lump. So let's think about this. Let's think about this out loud. So in order to get more podcast reviews, right? Let's just brainstorm, right? What platforms that we could be to review on. And really, the only one right now is Apple Podcasts. So I'm just going to put that here, Apple Podcasts. But that's a big question that I know comes up is, well, hey, like, where should I be asking for reviews for, right? Well, Apple Podcasts is really the only spot right now, even if people are listening on another platform. Let's keep going here. Do we use our email list? What about social media? What about within social media, using a public post? Or what about using things like DMs, for example? When it comes to getting more reviews, how do we ask for reviews? What, like, do we just go, hey, can you leave a review, or should we say something specific? So the sort of the pitch or the how. So I hope you can see here, this is just like a cluster of Post-it notes, and eventually I can already see that I want to start putting order to this, right? So which platforms to review on, which places to ask can maybe go here, and this is like the how to ask, right? Plus part of the how to ask, I know, is also the follow-up. How and why. Follow-up. So again, as you can see here, I'm sharing these things. If you want a top-down camera view, there's a top-down camera view. Platforms to review, social media, email list on our websites here too. Let me pop that in here. And I know that I have a very specific strategy that works more than anything. So I'm actually going to pop that strategy here at the end, or right here in the middle. So my number one strategy. And I like including my best strategy. So again, if we go here, you'll see where in the presentation I have my best strategy, right here. In fact, we want it to be a little bit closer to the end, because this is the hook, right? That's a hook with a barb. There, that looks more like a hook. Not really. But what platforms to review on, methods, my number one strategy, and actually the pitch and the follow-up, how to get more views, right? So this is not, whoa, what's wrong with my camera angle there? Sorry, came loose. I have it semi-loose so that I can adjust it a little bit easier and have it still stay where I want it. Anyway, so we have these Post-it notes now, which is really interesting. Now, guess what I can do? Here's a slide. Here's a slide. Here's a slide. These are all slides, right? That one I didn't even swish anything and it still made the sound. So this is the beauty of this specific to Keynote and PowerPoint, because we can take these ideas, we can move them around, and then we pop them in there. Now this isn't the full presentation, because within each of these Post-it notes, there might be a subset of things. And the other thing that I want to mention about Keynote and PowerPoint is we don't want to use Keynote and PowerPoint to just put all of our notes in, right? Yes, there are sort of notes that you can include that aren't shown on the slide. Those are called your presenter notes. But you can use those things later as cues and other things that you can use for later, and just kind of memorization techniques and whatnot. The other thing that I want to include here is a story. So one thing that I love to start with is a story that's relevant, right? So I'm going to include story as another one. Story. This will go right in the beginning, right? And I also want, in many cases, you might need some proof. So story, proof, right? Story, proof. And then what I like to do is go into Keynote here. And there's a few things I like to do immediately while I'm here. Number one, I never use the sort of layout that they give me. I literally want to use blank, right? I don't, maybe the title screen, because it's nicely laid out here, but even then it's like blank, and I don't want to be forced to use those sort of constraints, because guess what? Everybody's using those same constraints. Everybody's using the same thing. So what I like to do here is skip number 1 and just create a new slide. And actually, the easiest way that I do that is just hit duplicate, because I want them blank, right? Also, I'll go in here and then I'll make the background color black. I just find that black's a lot easier to work with. Plus, when you're presenting on a screen, having a black background, if parts are sticking out, for example, if you have a photo in the center or something and you don't want to stretch it out all the way, having black on the outsides of your image just works a little bit better, especially on stages. It's not bright, it's not providing a light, it's just dark, and you can focus on the thing with color or light in it. And then also, it's just easier on the eye when you're working. So I kind of like to use the black background instead. You can change that in the master file, but again, I just like to go in here. You can actually, if we go in here and edit the master slide like this, you can change all this stuff here if you'd like. But again, I don't like to go into all this because this just takes more time, and honestly, it's a lot easier to not do that. So let's go back to I want to go to exit master slides, and this is what I do. I hit text, title, slide. Boom, this slide is done. Not really, but this is just a placeholder. I love using placeholders for things, and this is exactly what we're going to do to start out with. This is the process. So number 1, we did the brain dump and lump strategy. We used Post-it notes, as you can see here. For those of you coming in, we created a little presentation about this here, which is how to get more podcast reviews. I have that at the end here. I reverse engineer, just coming up with random ideas about how we might be able to present this and help people understand that. And then I put them in an order. And now we go into Keynote, and we go here, and we go, okay, so this is the title slide. Now I'm going to add text for about me and story. Then I'm going to duplicate this, and this is literally what I do. Then I'm going to go to platforms to review, Apple Podcast. Let's duplicate this again. I'm on number 4 here on the left-hand side. Then I'm going to do places to ask for reviews. And then here I'm going to do your website, show notes. Let's go duplicate down here. Then social media. And then let's do this again, duplicate email list. Again, this is my presentation. Title slide, about me. I'm not worrying about the font. I'm not worrying about the design right now, but this is fine. Yeah, I didn't change the background color, but I don't want to worry too much. I want to speed through this. So duplicate slide number 8. Now we're talking about my number 1 strategy, which includes sort of a 2-step process. So then I'm going to actually demo this. So I'm going to duplicate, and this will be my demonstration how to for the 2-step process. These again are just placeholders. Duplicate. Let's see, and this I want you to know that there might be and likely will be slides that will be inserted into here in between. So for example, the 2-step process demonstration, this isn't just going to be one slide to demonstrate this. It's going to be multiple slides. I'm going to go down. Next, we got the follow-up, and then finally the conclusion, or the conclusion, wrap up, and then we have duplicate the end slide. The end slide usually includes like social media handles, social media accounts. It'll include just like a thank you and all that good stuff. So we have 12 slides here so far. Is today a nice compliment to your highest viewed video? It indeed is. My number one highest viewed video here on YouTube that I created 5 years ago is how to create an awesome slide deck. That will show you different structures and different ways to design your slides to make them look better and more interesting. We're going to get into some of that here today, actually, but in that video, I don't get into the actual like creation of your presentation, which is exactly what we're talking about today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link in that video in the description to this video. Already in this video, I've linked to that video so you can see it in the description below. Thanks for the thumbs ups, by the way. So as you can see here, we have already a skeleton of our presentation. We start with a title slide, and this is going to be the last one that I design. The second to last one that I design will be our end slide, the one with our social media accounts, the thank you. It sometimes might include a, hey, Q&A or questions, those kinds of things. We want to now design the middle parts of this. Now, my philosophy with slides are that bullet points kill people. Bullets kill people, right? So we don't want to use bullet points. My philosophy is I want to use the slide deck as a navigation menu, or essentially a guide for the person who is going to be watching or listening, and a guide for me who is presenting to be able to then go deeper and tell stories and show and demonstrate things. I don't want to have people feel like they're just reading off a slide to get the information. I want to be the one that gives the information, and I want to tell the stories that get people engaged. The slide is a complement to that. The best presentations typically don't need or require a slide. Obviously, if there's something visual, in which case in this presentation about how to get podcast reviews that we're sort of doing as a demo here, yeah, there's going to be some things that I'm going to take pictures of and take screenshots of to kind of show you how things work. But this is the sort of way to go about this. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Appreciate you. I love the dump and lump concept so much. Yeah, I was looking for a nicer name, but I don't know, it's kind of memorable, dump and lump. One of the things I hate the most, or one of the things I miss the most in my current career, is that I no longer get to regularly be on stage and do presentations. This is fun. Yeah, and Grandma Goody, guess what? You get to do these presentations too. Why not do them for your kids and your audience and just make them fun, make them easy? You don't have to be on camera the entire time. You can flip back and forth like I'm doing right now. Hey, what's up? Hey, I don't know where that, hey, what's up? Cool, how are we all doing? Bruh. Let's keep going here. So title slide, about me, story. So what I like to do for the about me or story thing is not the following. I'm going to design this in a way that I don't want you to design it, right? So you might have, a fun color of the slide, right? Or not that. Let's go to the slide color. Let's make it blue because it's about business. And then you have up here in a nice little font. I like to include, if you scroll, let's see, which font do I want to use for this? I like choosing two fonts, one big bold font and one supporting font. So my big bold font, I'm going to use Gotham. I'm going to make it about 88 for 88 miles per hour. And we're going to make it black. So about me, story. And what I like to do is just have one, and then I can copy and paste it and use it for the rest, right? So if I want like about me story here, then I might just pop that and copy paste platforms to review. And this is how I just keep it the same every time without having to worry about the master slide or anything like that. But let me just undo all that. Okay, so about me, again, this is what I don't want you to do. So I'm going to do a text box, and I'm going to pop this over here, and I'm going to center this text box, and then I'm going to make it my supporting font, which I will make, what do I want my supporting font to be? Nexa Bold, right? So we're going to make this black. We're going to go left adjusted, and I'm going to do a bullet point list, bullets. And let's increase the font size to 45. All right, I graduated from UC Berkeley. I, with a degree in architecture. Next. I lost my job in 2008. I started a business to help people pass an architecture exam. I started my podcast at smartpassiveincome.com in 2010. Reviews have been significantly important. Is that, that's kind of saying the same thing, right? Significantly important, have been extremely important in my podcasting career. Yay, fun. And now I can obviously make this maybe a little bit bigger, select all, maybe I can make it, let's go 65 font, scroll down. Let's make this a little bit more spaced out. So I'm going to select all this. Let's space the different paragraphs out. And then what I'm going to do is select all these and go, ooh, I want to animate them, add an effect, appear. I want them to appear not all at once, but by bullet. Hey, everybody, this is about me. I graduated from UC Berkeley with a degree in architecture. I lost my job in 2008. I started my business to help people pass an architectural exam. I started my podcast at smartpassiveincome.com in 2010. And reviews have been extremely important in my podcasting career. Yay! Yeah, I'm basically telling you what not to do, Andrew. Like, I just wanted to demonstrate just how boring that is, right? Absolutely boring. So we don't want to do that. So I'm literally going to delete this slide. Delete. Comic Sans. Yeah, don't use Comic Sans, please. So let's go about me. So let me pull up another presentation that I have where I can share a little bit more about who I am. So I can come here. This is another presentation that I have, and I can find a couple things. I think there's another presentation where I do an even better job of, let's see, Affiliate Marketing Masterclass. So what I like to do here's how I do the About Me section of the other, so where I talk a little bit about me and who I am, right? So let's actually just pull from this existing presentation, and I'm going to go back to Untitled here. Make sure you save, of course. But here is how I would do an About Me section for this presentation, right? So now consider what I just did, right? Have you read Beyond Bullet Points by Cliff? It's very similar, ties research to proving your points. What program am I using? I am using Keynote, but you can do the same thing in PowerPoint, so don't feel like you have to be tied to one or the other. In fact, Google Slides could probably work just the same. But this is how I would do the About section here in a presentation. This is how I would do it on stage. This is how I would do it in a webinar, right? So this is how I'm telling a story. I just want you to know that. So imagine we came from this title slide, which again is going to say something like, how to get more podcast reviews. And then I'm going to transition into it by saying, hey, let me tell you a little bit about myself first. I actually came from the architecture world. What you're seeing here is my business card from back in the day. And if I flip this in the back, you'll notice, and don't worry, the addresses aren't there anymore, which is significant to the story because guess what? I got laid off in 2008 from this position with the recession. Now, look at the little lead AP there next to my name. That's really important because that was the exam that I passed that I then created a website for after I got laid off. And this is the online business that I first started. Here is what that website looks like, and that's at greenexamacademy.com. And this is a very, very important part of the story because this is what allowed me to understand that this world of online business was such an amazing opportunity. And from there, I created a website called Smart Passive Income. And from there, I started my very first podcast called Smart Passive Income. In fact, if there's anybody here who happens to watch or listen to Smart Passive Income, let me know in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for that. Now, let me tell you the significance of Smart Passive Income and reviews, which is exactly what you're going to be learning about today. So do you see how I just kind of use the slides as touch points about the presentation? So it provided context. It made it seem more real. It was relatable. If I want you to learn about me, well, let me tell you about me, not let me list a bunch of things that are relevant or sometimes irrelevant, right? So I'm telling a story. I'm taking people away from, oh my gosh, is this just another one of those boring presentations? Or, oh, I'm getting into the life of this person, right? You don't want to spend too much time in the how-to or who are you. But as you can see, these slides did not have any text on them. They were just images that allowed me to tell a little bit more about my story. If I go into this other presentation where I go even deeper, I say things like, so actually, let me take you into this other presentation to show you. So let me just continue. This presentation that you're watching right now is about affiliate marketing, right? So I take you into Green Exam Academy, and then we go, all right, and from there, I built a website called Smart Passive Income to show people how I was able to build this business. And this is what that website looked like, by the way. This just shows you that you don't have to have a fancy looking website right away. And this website, of course, evolved over time. And then eventually I'm at a point now where my business has absolutely taken off and this website has helped millions of people. And now with my podcast, both Smart Passive Income and Ask Pat, I've won multiple awards. I have a YouTube channel. I've in fact been featured on Forbes. I've built my own businesses and other niche websites and other tools and software. But here's the interesting thing. Out of all these businesses, I've made quite a bit of money online. I've made over $6.5 million in online earnings in since 2008. But here's the kicker. 75% of that has come from affiliate marketing. So this is like tying the story, right? This is tying the story into the purpose of the presentation. This proves why you should listen to me when it comes to affiliate marketing, right? If that makes sense. So this is something that we need to do in our presentations a little bit more. So when you're telling a little bit of the story, then you tie it into the thing that people are there for. So in this case, for this presentation that we're doing here about how to get more podcast reviews, remember, this is sort of what we're working towards here on the other end of the presentation. This is the goal. This is the transformation. Should probably have it a different color, maybe like that, right? But when it comes to this presentation that we have here, we want this story of who I am to tie into the podcast, right? And podcast reviews. So what I would do here, like literally I'm going to build this out. I'm going to steal some stuff from my other presentation that I have. Actually, where was that? That was the affiliate marketing presentation. And I'm actually going to go right into here, and I'm going to take that one. So let's take that image. And let's pop that here. Then I'm going to include a new slide. Actually, I can just duplicate this one. So this is the new slide that I want to show a screenshot. This is what I do. I don't often build these things right away. I'll just offer placeholder screenshot of reviews on Apple Podcasts, right? So then what I'll do, just to kind of keep that in mind, I'm going from a little bit about my story, building this website to help people, having now a podcast that helps people understand more about business, and then screenshot of reviews on Apple Podcasts. This will tie the subject matter. This will connect me to the subject matter, right? You want to kind of sell, like I said earlier, sell the purpose of this presentation and what people are leading to. You either share proof with numbers, whether it's Euro numbers or case studies or data or something, that this stuff is important and it can definitely help you, right? So let's go into the computer. I'm going to go into podcasts, and I'm just going to take some of my, let's go to browse. Let's go to Smart Passive Income. Let's go into Smart Passive Income. Ding. And it's taking a while to load because hooks and fit, right? So I'm going to grab that screenshot. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to my Finder window. I'm going to go to screenshots. All right. Sorry for the text messages that are coming in. Just my hot seats in my, whoa, do not disturb. I don't want that. Yo, what the heck is going on here? Okay. Finder. Screenshot. I'm going to pop that in here. Just drag and drop it in. And this, again, will show proof of what I'm talking about. Right, so let's try to expand this a little bit. There we go. And then what I want to do, because a lot of times these really busy slides with a lot of text and a lot of things like that, there's often one or two things that you want to point out, right? So let's use the program to point out those most important things. And then what I'm going to do is just cover this intro for you again as if I was presenting this, and I'll show you how this slide plays a role, right? Watching Pat is like watching a pilot at work. Thanks, Jameen. Okay, so I'm here. What I want to do next, and this is a trick I love to do, you could either do this in two ways. So the easy way is to create a shape, oval, or circle, and I'm gonna hover over the thing I want to point out, right? So I want to show that I have 3,219 ratings. Why? Because this proves that I can get reviews, right? Now, this is obviously covering it. So what I like to do is go to Format, Style. I don't want to fill this. No fill. But I do want a border. And I'm going to create a line. And I'm going to thicken the plot a little bit, thicken the line. And I'm going to make it red. Right now, I want to animate this, add an effect, appear. So now when I play this, watch. All right, and just to show you, the podcast now has 3,219 reviews. And in this presentation, I want to help you get more podcast reviews too. You see how that proof just goes so well with connecting the purpose and why people are here. So that's level 1. How you could Iceman, right, Samson? Maybe not. Maybe Nice Man. Nah, just kidding. Okay, so you see what I did there? I have a call out or a point, something that points to that. You can also use their shapes here. You can use an arrow in a very similar way. Arrows work really well too. The only hard part about this is I like to make arrows not parallel to anything because I want them to stand out, right? So I go to Format, Arrange, and then I can change the rotation just a little bit. Whoa. And that way it stands out like a sore thumb. You just want people to see the thing that you're calling out, right? So again, same thing. I can animate this, add an effect, appear, play, and 1, 2, 3, bam. There's the arrow, right? So either way, you can do it that way. Now, I'm going to show you a fun little trick that I like to do here in Keynote, which I'll just show you because it's my favorite thing in the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this slide, and then I'm going, so I have 2 of them now. You can see here on the left-hand side, I have 2 of them, right? I'm also going to now take on the second slide, I'm going to copy and paste the same exact thing. So I have 2 here, right? So I'm going to make sure they just are right on top of each other. It kind of snaps into place. Now what I want to do is I want to double click on the one that's forward. It's like a layer. There's 2 on top of each other, right? Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to double click on this, which allows me to then crop it. So I want to crop it down all the way to where the ratings are. Whoa. There we go, like that. And I'm going to hit done. And it looks like it's not necessarily on top like it should be. Hold on. Let me do that again. It wasn't aligned properly. Okay, so we have 2 on top of each other. There we go. Aligned. Double click. Let's take this one. And I'm going to crop it all the way to where the ratings are, right? So essentially, the one image that's on top is now just that small. So I hit done. So now this image here is actually like a duplicate. You see how it almost like acts as a second layer now? I'm going to put it back where it was. And I'm going to take the image behind, format it, and I'm going to take the opacity and bring it down. So everything almost kind of lightens up a little bit. Now, the reason it's hard to see is because the background is white. I want the background of the whole slide to be black. And watch this. Boom. So do you see how this now almost stands out like a sore thumb? It's what's called a light box effect, which unfortunately you kind of have to hack in this way, but I just wanted to show this to you. And then now what I can do is I can go to the previous slide, and it goes here. But if I were to just kind of click from one to the next, watch this. It works okay. So hey, I have 3,219 ratings. That kind of works. And you can't help but look at that, right? And the whole purpose of this slide is for people to look to see how many ratings I have. But what I can do now is I can animate this, add an effect, dissolve. And I usually like my dissolves less than a second, but I want this to be maybe 0.7, and now watch the effect. Play. It almost like blends in like that, right? Which is really cool. So I'll probably keep it like that. I don't know why. Yeah. Cool. Pat Flynn, I think your title could include presentation tips and tricks because you're giving us more than just how to start. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm just sharing this with you. So now the intro might go like this. I'm just going to speed through this. Hey, Pat Flynn. I started in my career in architecture. This was my business card. And don't worry about the information here, because guess what? I don't have this job anymore. I got laid off in 2008. And what saved me was starting my own business here at Green Exam Academy, helping people pass an architectural exam. Again, I'm just speeding through this. I wouldn't go this fast actually. But from here, a lot of people asked me how I was able to succeed online. And so I created a business called Smart Passive Income. And in 2010, I started a podcast called Smart Passive Income. In 2014, I started a podcast called Ask Pat. And since then, my podcast has earned over 65 million downloads. I've won awards. Here I am collecting an award in 2015 for my podcast. And I've collected a lot of reviews. As you can see, 5.0 rating. And just look how many reviews I have at this point. 3,219. I want to help you get more reviews too, because after doing this for over a decade, I've understood exactly what works and what doesn't. And I don't want you to waste your time. And I want you to stick around too, because at the end of this, I'm going to share with you a very specific strategy. It's actually a 2-step strategy that nobody else is teaching that'll help you get more reviews, that has worked by far better than anything else I've ever done. So we need to talk first about the platforms that we want to collect reviews on. Transition into, boom, about me, not the about me, I'm going to delete that. Platforms to review, Apple Podcasts, right? So that was kind of how I started to introduce myself a little bit. I think it's important to introduce yourself a little bit, and that way people know who they're listening or talking to. If you are presenting in front of people who already know you, like at work, you don't necessarily need to go into that much depth about like where you were born and what your favorite food is or anything like that. But connecting something related to what you're doing, like, hey guys, today I'm going to be presenting about tiles. As you know, in the architecture space, I work on finishes, and one of those finishes is the tile, and tiles are really important. So let me give you a quick story about this, whatever, right? Quick story going into, okay, this is part of today's live video. Haha, don't leave us hanging. No, I got you, Sandy. Hey, extra thumbs downs today. That's good, because maybe we can turn those frowns upside down for you. It's all good. It still helps with the algorithm anyway. So I appreciate you for being here and for showing up. So we are about 15 minutes away from the end here, which is okay, because I wanted to share with you sort of the beginning and the intro and sort of how my workflow is. Now, okay, let's move on. Platforms to review, Apple Podcasts. So really quickly, let's make it easy. So I'm going to delete that because I don't want that text. I'm going to make this slide black. And now I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to go to Apple Podcast logo PNG. And then I'm going to go to images. And essentially what I want to do is just get the Apple Podcast logo, right? So I'm going to go to the Wikipedia. I'm going to hit File, Save Image As. Sure, I'm just going to put it on my desktop for now. Just you want to have a folder for your specific presentation to make it clean. But I'm going to go to Keynote here. I'm going to go to my desktop. And I'm just going to drop this bad boy in here. And I'm going to add some text. Move this down. I'm going to make it white text so we can see it. We're going to use the bold font. There's two fonts that I use in a presentation, a bold one and like a one that I use if there is any text that I include. So Apple Podcasts. Let's make this a little bit bigger, maybe 200. I just guess. I don't ever, 200? Too big. 150? Cool. All right. So now remember, presentation-wise. So 3,219 reviews, and I want to show you how to get more reviews too. Now, the most common question I get is, well, where do we want reviews? There's Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all these different places. There's only one and one only that you need to worry about, and you could probably guess what it is. And of course, if you're here live on a webinar or something like that, or this is a side note for those of you watching the income stream right now, one thing that you could do is when there are moments to have people sort of guess, ask your audience there if they can guess. It offers a moment of engagement. So the way I would do that would be, let's rewind, 3,219 reviews, and there's only one platform that you need to worry about. Can anybody guess here in the chat what it might be? Just pop it into the chat and we'll see who's right. The only platform you need to worry about is Apple Podcasts. It is by far the most important platform when it comes to reviews. And instead of confusing our audience and telling them to go to Stitcher and you actually can't leave reviews on Spotify or Google Podcasts right now, Apple Podcasts is where it's at. So this should make things a little bit easier. All signs point to Apple Podcasts, even for people who listen elsewhere. They can still come on and leave a review to help out the show. So do you see how I didn't just like list those things? Like bullet point, you don't need to worry about Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. Bullet point, point all people to Apple. No, just say just say those things, right? So again, the whole idea of just one slide to show one thing is clean. This positions you more as an expert. This positions you more to be engaging. This positions you to be more paid attention to instead of reading off the thing that's on the slide, right? So this is a great way to do it. So next, what's next? Again, now I'm like, okay, what do we do next? Oh, I already built the skeleton of this presentation. Places to ask for reviews, we just did that one. Your website, show notes. So now it's like, well, how do we get, where do we go to find them? So we can do this in a few ways. Again, the way that traditionally we do this, or people have done this, is you pop this up at the top, you use your big font, right, in black text, nice and bold. Your website, so this could be, where do you ask for reviews? And then again, what we don't want to do is just have a little bullet point list of one, website, your website. 2, social media. 3, email list. Amal list. Email list. Let's left justify these. Yeah, not very fun, right? This is, again, not giving me a lot of information, and it's boring, right? And of course, if you want to animate this, you can add an effect, appear. There's really only 2 effects that I would worry about. Too many people, like imagine if you use like this, right? No, don't do that. Please don't do that. Only use appear, where it just pops up like that. And of course, if you have bullet points, if you do in fact need to use bullet points, sometimes it's necessary, but try to avoid it if possible. Just do appear. Sometimes dissolve is the other animation that I'll use. But anyway, this is not what we want. Where do you ask for reviews? Your website. And then you explain this, and this is just the slide that's up there the whole time. Number 2, social media, blah, 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 blah. Number 3, your email list. This is boring. This is like those TikToks where they just like point to things, right? We don't want that, right? We want to go a little bit deeper. So the cool thing here is, and this is what I typically do. So I'm going to delete this whole thing. I'm going to find a screenshot of my website. Oops. smartpassiveincome.com/podcast. Let's just go to an individual episode. Let's go to the one with Tim Ferriss. That's kind of cool because it positions me as an expert, right? Oh, you interviewed Tim Ferriss. That's cool. Taking the screenshot. I have my screenshots. This has been very handy. I have my screenshots automatically, because you can do this with Dropbox if you have Dropbox enabled. I have them automatically dump into a folder named screenshots in where? Dropbox. And what's cool is I can now use my Finder I can go to the screenshots folder. I just have it here as a favorite, and I can just drag and drop that screenshot that I just took right into my program. So literally it just takes seconds. Right? I can either do it this way, but I want to share that this is on a website, right? So, I mean, this is obviously a website, but I like having still some annotation that says, okay, this is a website, right? So what I'll do is I'll make the background black here just to show that it pops a little bit more. Boom, pops. And then I'm just gonna take this text here because I already have it, and I'm gonna pop it up top. One, your website. Thank you for the thumbs downs, by the way. It still helps with the algorithm, so I appreciate you for that. Number one, your website. So as you can see here, I can go, all right, Apple Podcasts. That's the only one you need to worry about. But now this begs the question, okay, well, where do we go to collect our reviews? How do we actually get reviews to come our way? Well, number one, your website. This is my website here, smartpassiveincome.com. And then again, you're just showing proof that you have a website, that you are doing this thing, and then you can explain it, right? So I can show maybe another slide where within the show notes I ask for it. I can highlight that in the same way that I highlighted this thing over here, and then that just becomes a moment where I go, oh, okay, this is how we can do it on our website. I want these other ones to be quick though, because I want to show the two-step process. The two-step process is the big one, so I'm gonna skip a few of these here. Again, what I would do here is then duplicate this to what was number 2, social media. Right, then what I can do is just go twitter.com. Let's add, let's see. We got Roberto Blake in the house. I'm gonna give him a little heart. How about a retweet? Love this, Roberto. Also, sending this live for you during the income stream. Retweet. Cool. Next. Okay, so we want to take a screenshot of a moment where if you've listened to the SPI podcast recently, please leave a review. Thanks in advance. And then I want to go to podcasts. The best place to go to leave your review would be the link. Here's the triple dots. Copy link. Boom. I'm gonna delete this, by the way, but I'll just share this for you here like this, because I just want to show proof that, like, okay, this is an image that supports that point, right? So here we go back in Keynote. This is not the image that I want to use, but I'll keep it there just as a placeholder so that when I drag and drop this image that I just took, I can pop that in here really quick. Yeah, we'll do this. Double click to crop. Done. Okay. So this is how I do bullet points. I break them up, right? Number 1, your website. A little bit of context, a little bit of explanation. Number 2, social media. A little bit of context, a little bit of explanation. You see how much better that is than just like ... right? If that makes sense. So this is what I would recommend. When you're building your keynotes, I'm just building it here. The skeleton and the beginning parts that we did, massively important, obviously. Now, because as you can see, I have a skeleton that we could work off of. So there was social media. Number 3, email list. I would just have a screenshot of an email or my email list. And then I would go into this demonstration or how-to process, right? To set this up, I might, so this is how I would run a slide. Let's see if I can do this on the fly here. So I want to introduce my number 1 strategy, right? So let's just call this my number 1 ninja strategy. So I'm going to go to istockphoto.com. There's other websites, depositphoto.com, etc. Let's do ninja. Something that would be kind of cool. Oh, here we go. I like that. This image is kind of cool. So let's download this image. I already have credits there. iStock Photo, I will say, is pretty expensive, but I have a ongoing account with them and credit that they just add new things over time. So again, Keynote here. So this is to set up my number one strategy. I want people to get excited about it. This provides another moment in the middle of the presentation where I can go, hey guys, are you stoked? Because I'm about to share something cool with you. So here's this image. I'll just basically, again, I don't have to be perfect. I'm just gonna blow this up, crop it in a way like this. Then I'm gonna take some text that I had earlier. My number one ninja strategy. And again, you don't need to be super wordy, right? You don't need to be super wordy. Let's actually make this a little bit thinner like that. I can move this aside just a little bit more, maybe blow it up a little bit more. No, I liked it where it was before. Undo, undo. My number one ninja strategy. So again, here's how it works. All right, number one, your website, blah, 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 information, etc. I'm talking, I might even go off of the slides here. This is the beauty of this. I can present an idea, have an image to sort of denote that and to also remind me as the speaker, and then I go to camera view. Or now I'm just speaking on stage and talking, and I'm not worried about, oh yeah, number three, number four. This allows me to look at the slide and go, okay, number two, social media. Bam, camera, right? Or audience, and I can engage and be with the audience and tell a story now. This is why it's better than bullet points, because I don't want people to see things that aren't relevant to the thing I'm talking about right now. This is the thing I'm talking about. Number three, email list. Again, I didn't design that one yet. And then, remember I told you earlier that I have a strategy that works better than anything? Well, that's what I'm about to share with you. This is my number one ninja strategy for collecting more reviews. This works by far more than anything. And here's the process. Now, in this process, if there's an opportunity to actually live demo this, that's always more impressive. Not always recommended because sometimes it's based on the technology. You might not have internet access at these presentations or what have you. Sometimes live demonstrations don't go according to plan, and that can completely derail everything, right? So yes, that we don't want to do it that way all the time. If you can do that, then it would make sense. There's moments where I share simple things, like when I demonstrate how to reach out to somebody in social media and leave a quick little video message. I can do that live anytime, no worries. I can even pretend to do it and it would still work, right? But if you want to make sure that you're showing this strategy properly, you can actually show images and talk your way through it. So if it's on a phone, for example, take screenshots of your phone. You could even pop in a video that you record ahead of time to pop in here, and then you can talk over it, almost like you're the voiceover over that part. Now, just before we go here, because I literally have 2 minutes, let me show you this strategy or tell it to you, right? So collecting reviews, because I know I've been talking about this, I don't want to leave you hanging. Don't leave your audience hanging, by the way. But let me tell you this two-step strategy. Number one, on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're at, start with a post that talks about your latest episode and asks if anybody had listened to it yet or what their favorite part about it was, right? So this does two things for you. Number one, it gets more traffic to go check out your post or podcast. And even if people have listened to it, there's an engaging point in there. What was your favorite part? What was the most surprising moment? Have you listened to this episode yet? And you're going to get people responding saying yes, or oh, this part here, or oh, I like this part. Hey, thanks for what you do. All those little fun little things that you get from people who want to support you, who have listened to the show, or of course, again, some people hadn't listened to it yet. They might go listen to it. So that's step one, right? That's step one. Step two is to go and find those people who replied, who said, yes, me, or I love this part of the podcast. Now when on Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, you reach out to them in a direct message and you say, hey, Jim, thank you so much for replying to my post about the podcast. I saw that you listened to it. I love that moment that you talked about. It was one of my favorite moments. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a listener. And by the way, since I have you, if you haven't done so already, if you could leave a quick review for me on Apple Podcasts, that would be so amazing. It's not required, but since I'm here, I just wanted to ask, and I can't thank you enough for supporting the show. Number one, you know this person listens to the show. Number two, you know this person actually enjoyed it because they actually replied to this comment. Number three, the fact that you're reaching out personally, this works like 95% of the time. This is how I get book reviews. This is how I recommend getting podcast reviews. The personal one-to-one touch, especially with a video, coming from a person that they listen to, a host of a show that feels very, very formal and professional, like a television show. Like, of course a person's going to do it for you in many cases. And then because it's on social, you can just make it easy for them. Oh, here's a link for you just to make it easier for you too. So this is the strategy, right? This is the strategy. Maybe we can do a part 2 and finish this off tomorrow. I can do the whole presentation for you. But let me know if that strategy makes sense for you, because that works all the time. Go and try that. Do it. 2-part process. Send a post, get people to communicate, reach out to those individuals, make them happy, right? So that's how you go about it. Anyway, Chad, I have to go to a mastermind meeting now, but I just want to thank you so much for your time and attention today, getting a little over-the-shoulder look at my keynote process. I'm going to save this so that we can always save your work, y'all. Oh, always save your work. How to get more podcast reviews. Okay. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you for joining me here on the Income Stream live with me today. If you're watching the replay, I hope this was helpful for you too. Thank you. Hit me up tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to start at... Tomorrow we get to start. We're going to start at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. 8:30 a.m. Pacific. All right. Well done, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to call myself out and say I did not say the secret word today. I don't want to just say it every time at the end after I forgot, because I have this checklist of things I need to make sure I do. So on Friday, I'm going to play a game of Watch Your Mouth. I missed the secret word today. I want to put it in naturally in the middle of the presentation. I missed it today. I'm not even going to say it right now. I messed up. It's all good. You caught me. And we'll play a game of Watch Your Mouth on Friday to make up for that. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you. Team Flynn for the win.
This is the Income Stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the Income Stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The Income Stream with Pat Flynn.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for the help. Thanks so much for helping me fix my microphone earlier too. This was great. Appreciate you. Hey, we have less thumbs down than there were before, so awesome. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a good day. Peace out. So flabbergasted.